Well, good afternoon, everybody. Let me make sure that I'm being heard. Okay, let's see. All right, yep, it looks like I'm being heard. I've got 1:01 Eastern time, so we're gonna wait just 1 second while everybody else logs in. Okay, bear with me 1 second here. Just finishing getting everything ready for today. Just gonna go ahead and do something in preparation for this today. Categories and delete all these guys. Okay, make sure everything is synced. And we should be good to go. All right, so thank you very much for joining our third monthly workshop, sales workshop. If this is your first time, just want to go over a little bit over how this workshop is structured. So the first 15 minutes of the workshop, I'll be going over a specific type of retailer, along with some specific functions or features of our POS. And then the last 15 minutes, I'll just go overall what would be a general sales presentation, just a brief 15-minute sales presentation. So if you've been in the previous workshops and any of the previous workshops, you're going to see something new during the first 15 minutes or so. But then for the last 15 minutes, you can drop off if you'd like, because it's pretty much the same thing that I always do at the end of each workshop. All right. So today we're going to be working with a fireworks retailer convention. All right, and something that I also want to mention is these workshops are all recorded. If you go to YouTube and look for the Sound Payments channel, you'll be able to access these workshops at any time. Now, one of the things that I always mention at the beginning is that the premise of the solutions that we offer is we want to empower the reseller, we want to empower the ISO, and we also want to empower the merchant to have all the tools to be able to manage their day-to-day business, both from a reseller point of view as well as the actual merchant. All right, so as I'd mentioned, today we're going to be working on a reseller or a retailer for fireworks. And what I want to do here is, first and foremost, we're going to show you today what a product upload would look like for an initial upload. Some of our competitors, some of the other vendors for POS systems, POS solutions, they offer the option to upload the initial inventory for the customer, okay, for the actual merchant. We do not offer that option for the simple reason that we provide both the merchant or the reseller, both actually, the ability to do that upload yourselves. And what we have found is, in terms of timing, it's much more challenging when the control of the initial upload is in the hands of the actual POS provider. In the sense that we've seen some providers where, for example, for quick serve restaurants, which our POS can also work with, they send a menu to the POS provider, and then they have to wait for that POS provider to actually upload that menu, the actual inventory. And what happens is, if at any time there's any type of discrepancy or dissatisfaction with what's been uploaded, then the merchant and the reseller are pretty much at the hands of that POS provider in terms of timing. When it is a larger inventory, what that POS provider does is they send the merchant or the reseller they send them an Excel spreadsheet, and then they have to send it back and wait for that POS provider to upload. So what we offer here at Sound Payments is the ability for you to actually do that upload yourself, both from a reseller point of view and the merchant point of view, which is what I'm going to show you today. So what we see here is a brand new store I just created. I'm going to log into this store, and you're going to see that there is no inventory here. And I'm going to show you how simple it is to upload that inventory. We provide you with the Excel template. You'll see how we do that. Now, if you're not familiar with our system, remember that you've got the terminal side, which is what I'm sharing on the screen right now. And then you've also got the web portal side, which is what I'll show you later on. All right, you've got both the web portal for the reseller and the web portal for the actual merchant. All right, so let me make sure that you guys are able to see the screen here. Okay, yeah, it looks like you are able to see the screen. All right, so I wanted to show you on the actual terminal, if you go into the sales screen, that should provide you with a view of all the products. You'll see that it's pretty much a blank slate. All right, so as the reseller or as the merchant, we're looking at the reseller portal right now, which some of you may have access to, depending on what your structure is like with the actual, sorry about that, what the structure would be like with your reseller. I don't know if they provide you access to the reseller portal or not. Bear with me 1 second here. Oh no, I'm having a little bit of trouble here. Make sure I've got the right. Okay. I see what's going on. It changed my login here. All right, so that should log me in. So you're looking at the reseller portal. This is a demo environment, obviously. I've got all my stores listed here. But in order to upload the initial inventory for the customer, you would actually need to log into their store. I named this store the Bomb Fireworks. So when I log into the store, you would be able to see what the merchant portal would look like, right? This is the dashboard or the home page. And then you would just utilize these tools to upload the inventory. Now, mind you, if this inventory is going to be structured in the form of having different categories and then different products within each category, which is advisable, especially if you're not using a scanner. It's just simpler for the person who's ringing up the order to find each product in case that you've got a broad range of inventory. Then you want to create the category to organize that neatly. Now, if you're using a scanner, which you can use the camera that's built into the terminal or a handheld scanner, and I always recommend a handheld scanner. It works a little bit better, a little bit quicker, then you may not need to create any categories. But if you are going to create categories, you need to first upload the categories before you upload the actual inventory, because of course, each product is going to be assigned to different categories. And if you need a template, you can actually just use, add a category here and then just export it, and you'll be able to see what that looks like. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and first and foremost import the categories for this store that I've already created. Okay, I've saved it in an Excel spreadsheet. And I also recommend that whenever you create a new store, that you go ahead and create one category to export so you can see what that looks like. Now, the reason for that is we're constantly updating our POS software. So you want to make sure that you've got the latest version as far as the layout. So I do import category, and these are the 3 categories that I've created for the store: explosives, rockets, and sparkles. And once you've uploaded the categories and it's on the system, then you can go into the actual product screen. Now, products, obviously, the template is a little bit more complex. So we provide you with a layout or an initial template, okay? You've got the simple template, which would be if you're not utilizing any type of attributes. Attributes are unique identifiers, such as a size or a color, or a complex template, which would be including any type of an attribute. Now, we also provide you with those templates with some sample data. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what the complex template with data looks like, just so you get an idea. Okay, it's opening up in Excel. And this is really what you would need to fill. You can even add a picture. I didn't add pictures for today's products, but even if you have a barcode and you want to use a barcode, you can just attach the USB handheld scanner onto your computer, which you're using to create the Excel spreadsheet. And when you scan the barcode, it'll populate it with the actual numbers there. All right. Now, I've already created a full list of products. So I'm going to go ahead and just choose the file and do the import. Okay, wait for it to open up. And I'll choose initial inventory, which is the file that I created. And then I'll import it and you'll see the inventory listed on here. Now, I'm going to switch over to the terminal, okay, because on the terminal side, you may not see the inventory right away. Remember that it is cloud-based, so it's going to take a minute maybe to synchronize. But if you want to speed things up, then you just go under the settings function. Okay. Give me 1 second while it opens up. There you go. You can go to the cloud function that's within settings, and then just click on the sync button, and it'll automatically download any updates that you've done on the web portal. Okay, so it'll tell me now whether it's been successful in downloading it. I say okay. So now I can get out of this function here, go back to my sales screen, and I'll have all of the categories as well as the actual products. Okay, so on the explosives, I've got firecrackers, M80s. On the rockets, I've got bottle rockets and 330s. And then on the sparkles, I got the handheld and the volcanoes. Now, I did utilize a barcode for one of the products. I'm going to show you using both the camera to upload and the handheld scanner. So for the camera to be utilized as a scanner, you see on the right-hand side, you've got this little icon here on the right. You just click on that and it's going to activate the front camera. And if you notice in the middle of the screen, there's like a little crosshair. You can't see it that well because it's against the window, but I'm going to go ahead and put my fat fingers in front of that. And it is able to pick it up. Like I said, it is a little bit quirky. Now, because this is an age-restricted product, it's going to automatically ask me to input the customer's age. I'll go ahead and just put anything on here. Let me just go back to 2000. That's good enough. 2001. It's 18 and over. So that should allow me to buy it. Now, once I've verified the customer's age, I won't need to do it again. And I'm going to show you with the handheld scanner, just a little bit quicker in terms of identifying the item. It's not going to ask me, obviously, for any additional birth or age verification because I've already verified it once. But that's pretty much it in a nutshell as far as being able to upload your initial inventory and structuring it in terms of categories. So I'm going to go ahead and log out. I'm going to avoid this purchase. And the other thing that I wanted to show you was around inventory movement. Now, you can utilize your web portal, or the customer can utilize the web portal to move around the inventory here. Okay, they can just go into each one of these products. And if you notice when you create a product and you want to track inventory, because there are several ways that you can track inventory. You can do it just by the product itself. If you have attributes like size or anything like that, you can also do it that way. Or you can even use modifiers to track inventory. You can establish a low inventory quantity. In this case, I set it to 0. I'll set it to 5. And then it's going to automatically populate a low inventory report that's been pre-established on here, the low stock report. Okay. Now I want to show you on the actual unit itself what that inventory movement will look like. You've got this inventory movement function here, and you can either add, which would be in, right? Or you can choose to out movement. So this you would utilize maybe if you're doing a physical inventory verification. That's probably what you would use that product for. All right. And then if you want to update inventory, you would choose which product you want to update. Okay. And then you would select here, what number that would be. All right. So you can select any one of these items here, and you can either use the buttons to increase or decrease, or you can just type in the actual number. Okay. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell today, what I wanted to cover. Your initial inventory upload what categories are utilized for, and what that inventory movement would look like. All right, so we're going to move on then to the second part of our presentation, which has to do with a sales presentation, say like a quick 15-minute sales presentation that I would normally do. All right, so first and foremost, just want to talk to you guys a little bit about who we are. Sound Payments, we're a technology developing company. We want to provide our solutions both in the retail payment services or payment processing, as well as the petrol gas station, the ability to convert your pumps to EMV. We provide both solutions. So the idea is provide some technology solutions that are going to be cutting edge, but at the same time that are going to be cost effective. We also have offices in Tampa, well, actually St. Pete, right outside of Tampa, where we focus on our petro line. And we do have some offices outside of the US for research and development. We do work primarily with PACs, but we also work with other technology companies like Ingenico, CDE solutions and things like that. We're not a gateway or a processor. So I know that with some POS providers, there's always that risk, that concern that maybe we're going to take some clients away from you. We're not a processor, so no concerns there. We're really interested in providing you with the tools to serve your merchant clients. Some of the things that I want to highlight here is some features, and initially, in addition to what we spoke about today, because this is really meant for pretty much any type of small or medium-sized retail. Now, in terms of food industry, we do not recommend this POS for a full service restaurant because it does not have any functions around reservations or dining room layout, but it is very much usable for a quick serve or fast food restaurant. You can attach an external printer to it, a kitchen printer to it. Food trucks, for example, it's also really good to utilize with food trucks because it's very customizable. And if you got any type of retail food establishment, such as ice cream parlor, things like that, it's also really good. Other than that, really any retail establishment would work with this. So inventory, as we saw a little bit, you were able to track inventory in a couple of different ways. You can establish that low inventory number also so that the merchant is alerted. So again, very powerful in terms of how you can manage that inventory. It also has a function around employees. Now, it doesn't calculate your payroll or anything like that, but it does track their hours, both clock in, clock out, as well as breaks. And the very neat thing about this is that then you can export those hours in an Excel format. And almost any payment processing, any payroll processing software is going to be compatible with Excel. It also has a very powerful customers function, where not only can you track the customer's information, including their birthday, you can even take a picture of them utilizing the terminal camera. So this way you can ID them. And the reason why that's really useful is because it also has an account function within the customer's function, where the store can provide the customer credit and keep track of how much they owe, how much they've got available, any payments that they've made. And that function can even be utilized for layaways, for example, where you provide credit for that layaway, you charge it to that credit account, and then you can actually see as the client makes payments and brings that balance back down to zero. The other function that's also included within the customers feature would be a loyalty points program. And the neat thing about this is that the actual merchant can establish how many points are going to be earned by purchase and how many points it takes to actually make a purchase. So they can actually customize that to any ratio that they'd like. It also has a very customizable sales tax feature. Initially, you have 3 sales tax rates that you can utilize, but then you can combine those tax rates to create an unlimited number of tax categories. Because it is cloud-based, obviously, you have the ability to synchronize. So if you got multiple terminals at the same location, they're going to be talking to each other in terms of inventory, pricing, and things like that. Also, you've got several types of reports you can pull from both the terminal as well as your web portal that you saw. And many of these reports can be exported in an Excel format. So again, if you want to, in terms of accounting, if you're using QuickBooks or any other accounting software, they're usually compatible with Excel format. So again, it gives you that ability for inventory, for transactions, tax purposes, sales in general. You're able to pull that report. And then, as you saw earlier, we provide both the reseller and the merchant with a web portal. Now, on the web portal, you can really create pretty much anything that you would do on the terminal, with the exception of an actual sale. So again, very, very powerful tool in terms of being able to manage your business remotely. And it works because it's web-based. It utilizes a web browser. You can use a computer, you can use a tablet, you can even use your cell phone, and you have all the functionalities that you would do on a computer. Now, it is certified with all major payment processors, okay? As I mentioned before, you've got real-time remote monitoring for both devices and transactions. And then the advantage of it being web-based is that you can add new services without impacting the actual terminal or the processor certifications, all right? And it's done seamlessly. As a reseller, you pretty much push that new update, and as soon as the terminal at the merchant's location is connected to the internet, it'll do the update without any kind of merchant intervention. Some of the, the screenshots I've got here, you see on the top left, you've got complete control. You got, your screen for a A920 or an E600, which these are portable devices. Now, if you notice, the layout is a little bit different, but the functionality is exactly the same as the larger devices. On the bottom, you can see, what the screen looks like. You saw already the E700 or the E800 or the E500, these devices. Those are pretty much what they look like. On the right-hand side, then you can actually view what it looks like on a computer or a tablet for the portal, and then also on a mobile device. All right, so the PAX devices, these are all based on Android. They've got strong battery life. Now, the ones that are meant to be countertop, that's the 500, 600, and 800. 500, 700, and 800. The battery life is short. It's about 10 to 15 minutes. And really the purpose of that is in case that the merchant does have any power failure, you're not going to lose the transaction in the middle of the transaction. And as a matter of fact, because you've got multiple ways to connect, if the cashier who's running the transaction has a cell phone, they can activate the mobile hotspot, connect the terminal, and finish doing the transaction. As I said, though, just want to emphasize the larger units only have about 10 to 15 minutes of battery life. Now, for the smaller units, the E600 or the A920, which are meant to be portable, yes, those are actually about 2 hours of battery life that you can utilize. The neat thing is, we talked about inventory and inventory movement, is that if you have an A920, for example, you can take that into the warehouse and update your inventory right on that machine. So you don't have to be worrying about, reports and then trying to transfer it on a computer or on a countertop desktop. All of these units come with the exception of the A920, with your screen for the register, and then your payment screen on the payment terminal. All right, so the advantage there, obviously, there's no need to flip around, and because right now there's a lot of concern with the germs and the pandemic that we went through. Really, the client has their own screen, so the person who's operating the device doesn't really touch the same screen as the client does, with the exception, of course, of the A920, which is a fully portable unit, small unit, which they would need to turn around and share with. I mentioned that it really is flexible in terms of the applications, what kind of merchants you can utilize. So as I said before, in the food industry, you can utilize for quick serve, fast food, and storefront. And as I mentioned previously, also like food trucks is really good. And you can attach a network printer to it and be able to print out to the kitchen. And one advantage also with our POS is that you can select at the product level which printers are utilized. For example, maybe at a convenience store that does have prepared food, if you have hot dogs, for example, that need to be prepared at the kitchen, only the hot dog order is going to go to the kitchen. But if you have other items that are just countertop sales, then it's not going to print out in the kitchen printer and the network printer. In the retail area, garments like boutiques, secondhand stores, and things like that. Grocery stores, mini mart, bodega, small grocers, really. Remember that all of our units come with the integrated payment terminal. So if you've got a larger grocery store that has, your checkout lane that has a separate screen for the cash register, and then completely separate the actual payment device, yeah, our POS would not be advisable for that. We do have other solutions so that that merchant can keep their POS and utilize one of our credit card or our payment machines. And we actually convert that into a semi-integration in the cloud. And the advantage there is that if they do lose internet connectivity, there's no need to call a 1-800 number. There's no human intervention. Pretty much once both devices get back on the internet, they'll start talking to each other again. I mean, you've got other types of retailers as well that are really good for hardware, tires, party supply, things like that. Really, our solution is very good for that. Resources we've got are 24/7 merchant support for the POS. It comes with it. So the merchant is able to call up this 24/7 number. So it's really up to you as a ISO or the reseller, whether you want to use, if you already have a support number, obviously you can use them. But if not, the merchant can actually access this 24/7 support number. And we do have level 2 support also, both for the merchants that are escalated, and then in case that you use your own support, we have level 2 support for you as well. We also have a web page, or Sound Hub, and in that page, you've got all kinds of resources like articles, manuals, guides, and things like that. You've even got some videos. Again, because it's cloud-based, app and firmware updates are very simple to do. And as I mentioned before, we do have that level 2 support, advanced level reseller support, and a very, very experienced implementation team. So with that, I'm gonna finish today's presentation. Again, I'll reiterate, this is going to be on YouTube. Just look for the Sound Payments channel, and you'll be able to view not just today's workshop, the 3rd workshop of the series, but the previous 2 workshops. Remember, these workshops are dictated at the end of the month, last Wednesday of every month. I can even show you on our Sound Payments page where you can sign up for these in case you're not familiar. All right, so every Wednesday, last Wednesday of the month, I'm going to be dictating these workshops, and you can see ahead of time what the contents are for each one of these workshops. So if it's something that's of your interest, I would definitely encourage you to go ahead and sign up. All right, so this is today's workshop. Next workshop is going to be July 27th, and is going to be regarding an auto parts store, and we're going to be talking about cash discount, special pricing, which would be your discount pricing or sales pricing, and then your global price change. So again, thank you for your time. Thank you for joining me on today's workshop, and I hope to see you next month. Have a great rest of your day.